All right. We're YouTube official, Saul.
Oh boy.
Yeah, no. Well, first I want to say thank you for popping on. I know this was super last minute, but I
No
wanted
problem.
yeah, I'm actually pretty new to your channel myself and got to know you a lot over the last few months and things. So I thought an opportunity to kind of ask you a few questions, get to know you a little bit,
Sure.
and also let people know, you're out there and what you're trying to do. And uh, maybe this is also a way for people who do find it difficult to get product right now to know there's a way, I think by this week, Wednesday, Thursday, that you're going to try to do something. I think on Friday, you said, right? You're going to do the box break on Friday or Saturday?
If all goes well with shipping and everything, they said it's supposed to be here on Wednesday. You just never know.
Okay. So if it comes together on Wednesday, are you thinking Friday or Saturday? When are you going to do it?
Yeah, I'm thinking Friday just because Friday looks like it's more available for me.
All right, good. Well, look, we only been on for like 1 minute, and Gary Big Scott said email already sent to you, Saul. So there you go.
Yeah, I got him down. He's down.
Oh, good deal, good deal.
Yep.
So one thing is you always say on your channel, which I love because people here in Indiana, we're still in like winter is coming mode. But you're always talking about beautiful San Diego. It's sunny outside today. It's the mid 60s. It's 72 or whatever. So now, are you original San Diego native, or what's your story? Because you're a big Padres fan.
Yeah. Well, my story is I am not a native, as most people here in San Diego are not natives.
Right.
And so I've been here since 2001.
Okay.
So would consider myself kind of a native at this point. But I grew up in New Jersey and spent my first, 21 years in New Jersey before I came to school here in California. So that's how I got to California.
Okay. So do you have any reason to go back to Jersey anymore? Are you pretty much established in, San Diego now and really don't go back to the East Coast too often?
Yeah, my parents are still living. They still live in the same house I grew up in. So I do go back once a year, and I have two older brothers who live back there as well. So there's a lot of reason for me to go back. Haven't seen any of them for 2 years now, so you can imagine how that goes.
Yeah, I bet it's tough. Hey, what's up, Don, Gary? What's up, Reese? Hey, thanks. I knew you'd appreciate that, Don Pittsburgh. I got that actually in Pittsburgh at a Goodwill last year. So, so everybody talks about, like, I don't know if you have younger kids or teenage kids, Saw, or if you're just really hip. But like, there's always like life hacks. People always talk about life hacks or hack this, hack that, right? So I came to this realization when I was in Pittsburgh last year was if you want to go and buy a T-shirt or some memorabilia like shirts or hats or beanies or coats or whatever, when you go to the sports shops in those towns like San Diego, Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, Seattle, whatever. But if you go to those like game shops or those like local downtown areas where they're selling, you're paying through the nose on prices. However, if you go to that same town's Goodwill, all those same shirts and hats and jackets and jerseys are all the Goodwill racks for 1/10 of the cost or whatever,
Yeah.
So I came back with all this Pittsburgh hats and shirts for like $10. I had a bag, like a huge bag. And I would have got one shirt for the price of like 13 that I came away with. So
yeah,
So anyways, I was like, that's a life hack for you people out there. So when you said being in San Diego from New Jersey, the first question everybody has to ask is, do you know Kevin Smith?
Kevin Smith. You talking about the director?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Isn't everybody in New Jersey like they all know each other, right? That's what everybody thinks. Like,
right? No,
you gotta know that guy.
Wish I knew him, but I don't.
Right. You never hung out at the Quick Stop back in the 90s, did you?
No. Nope. Never hung out with Kevin.
You never sing that song, "Hey, little man, put that money into my hand,"
Never did that.
No, okay, that's good.
I actually might be a little older than you think, but that.
But you still know. I mean, you still 1994. you were living in New Jersey at the time, and I'm sure Clerks was a big deal, right?
Yeah, I was actually in school. I was in college at that time, back in Pennsylvania. But yeah.
Okay, I was gonna say I didn't think you were talking about during the time of Cobb and Wagner and all those guys. You weren't that old, so or else you're looking pretty
Yeah,
good. San Diego treated you well. Right. So you started on your channel recently, kind of being a super collector of Manny Machado. Now, how did you get there? Because obviously San Diego has a long history of quite a few good players, and obviously they have a current crop of good players. So how did you arrive as Manny Machado? Because he's not a Padre, long timer. He is now, but he wasn't initially. So how did you get to that point?
Yeah, and I would throw in there that he's not a very popular guy, to be quite honest. Yeah, I know I got that note from you.
Yeah. What up, Sky High? Yeah.
I to be honest, I think I might have mentioned on one of my videos before that the hobby has changed so much, as we all know, that you kind of have to adapt or give it up. And so I've been a set collector for about 10 years now, and that's all I ever did. And it was relatively boring, and I needed something a little bit more exciting. And I figured now is the time to start thinking outside the box and doing some things that maybe other people are doing, and some of the videos that I've seen on YouTube, which has inspired me to do this. I just started thinking, well, why can't I be a player PC guy? And so I started thinking, well, who would be a good choice? And, Machado's stuff is relatively inexpensive at this point.
That's true. That is true.
When you consider the kind of player he is and the numbers that he puts up on a yearly basis. So I just sort of funneled everything down to him. And, I can't do Tatis. He's way too expensive. And there's other guys on the team that I'm not sure they're going to be here long term. So why not just go with Machado and see what happens? And the response has been amazing, to be honest with you. There's a whole group of guys out there that are Machado super collectors, and I've gotten into that group a little bit and follow them on Instagram and Facebook, and the support has been pretty amazing, to be honest.
Yeah, I think it's cool, and also people come out of the woodwork that you wouldn't even know, either to help support you, or they might be Machado collectors, like you said, or people might be like, hey, I'm not really a big fan of Machado, or he's not my guy. You want me to send some stuff your way, do trade, sell. I just want to get rid of it, whatever. So it's kind of a cool opportunity when people know that you're a certain collector. It's like, I always feel like it's a blessing and a curse at the same time, because then everybody tries to unload every single Machado under the sun.
Yeah.
Like, when I tell people I'm a Cincinnati Reds fan, even though I love the Reds and I'm very grateful for anything that anybody ever sends me, I don't really need like 15 John Smileys from 1991. Like, I know, it's just kind of like, all right, guys, like, but it's, people try to be helpful. People, they want to see your collection grow. So I think it's really a cool thing this community offers us, where you're able to, say, hey, this is a passion of mine, like you said, and then people want to support that.
Yeah. I totally agree. That's what exactly happened to me. There was a couple of guys that, they just started asking me if I needed certain cards, and all of a sudden I have this shoebox filled with cards in top loaders, and it's only been about a month and a half since I've started doing it. It's pretty amazing. I know.
Now you're all in on a Machado, so he better not do anything crazy or go down with a forever injury or anything, because then you're gonna be like, dang it, who am I gonna go for next? So yeah, you definitely gotta make sure you guys stick this contract out and make it long term. So
yeah, totally, absolutely.
So that kind of brings me to the part of not the only reason, but one of the reasons I wanted to make sure I get you on tonight was because you're doing a blaster box break, and you already got your San Diego Padres, so you made sure you got your Manny Machado cards off the grid, so that's not going to happen. So when you were out looking, because I've never bought a case in my entire life. I've been a collector since like '85. As a little kid, like collecting with my dad, all the way up to now. So what is that process like? How did you come across that box? What were some of the things that you were like, I want to take a risk, because $900 is a risk, and I always say that because you put it out there how much you paid, or else I would never have said that.
Right.
But but $900 is not like going down to the local Piggly Wiggly and spending $20 on one blaster. So how do you make your decisions in that area to find it, to purchase it, and then feel like however this shakes out, I'm going to be okay?
So in this particular case, there's been a few times over the last month or so that I've bought some Optic cards, whether it's Machado or it's even Trout. I bought a couple of Trout cards that were Optic brand, and they were colors or they were numbered, things that I really like. And I realized how much I really liked the card for number one. I didn't know anything about Donruss Optic until I started doing that. And once I saw the cards in person, I realized these are really nice. And too bad they don't have the license, obviously. But they're really nice cards. They rival Topps Chrome pretty well. And so I started looking at prices of that particular brand and noticed that I think you had mentioned on your last video how that card or the Donruss brand is maybe a little bit more affordable out there. And so I realized, well, this might be an opportunity for me to try to search and hunt for the Tatis rookie card, which I don't have out of Optic, and number two, to try to get something fun into the community, which I used to do pretty regularly years ago. So I only usually do one case a year anyway, and then I'm busy with other things in the hobby. So I just happened to come across a little sale that Blowout was having. I think they were trying to get rid of a couple last cases, and it just happened to work out well timing wise.
Now, how many boxes are in a blaster case break?
I think if I remember correctly, I don't have that number in front of me. I think it's 20 boxes.
Okay.
I think 20 blasters. Yeah.
Okay.
I think the price comes out to be about like $45 a blaster box, which is about what they're going for, I think, on eBay anyway. Sure.
So when you said you used to do this more frequently, and then you slow down, or you haven't done it as much, and then of course you pull the trigger, last week or two to get this box. Was it just because the price was right, and you just were kind of itching to get something because you had seen, the Optic, and that was the reason, or why? Or because we all know how prices are getting crazy right now out there. So, what was was the main reason? Or just was opportunity was right there, you just pull the trigger?
Yeah, it was a combination of two things. I wanted to do something a little bit different, and then there was an opportunity right in front of me that I saw, and just said, why not? Let's give it a shot. Because a lot of times, in the past, I would ask people if they'd be interested before I'd ever pull the trigger. I don't normally pull the trigger first and then ask later. So, because that usually puts you in a bad position. But this time I just thought, let's just pull the trigger. People are hungry to maybe do something different, I thought, and let's try it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, and that's true, because if you go back to this, watch like the past month video of mine, and you might have seen it, I was like all down on it and everything, just because I'm getting so frustrated in the whole process, you know what I'm saying? But then you have people like yourself who you're not trying to get as much money out of people as possible. You're being like, $20 is the most you see on almost 2/3 of the teams you have on there. You know what I'm saying? It's like 20, 25, and 35 on like 3 or 4 teams, And I mean, but that same, you take that same box, you put it in somebody else's hands, you're looking at like 40 or 50 out of the gate for most teams, and maybe 80 for some of the bigger teams. I mean, that's the world we live in. So I was like, I appreciate people like yourself who's like, hey, I'm doing this just as much for me as I am for you all, because I'm a collector and I want some of these, Padres cards, and obviously I don't want to get left home in the bag. So, I need to make a little bit of money off of this, so at least break even. But, you're not doing anything out of the, realm of, ridiculousness. So I appreciate that. With the go ahead.
I was just going to say, I would add that in this particular product, the Padres are maybe the most sought after team if you were to look at the list. And so it made it even easier to make those prices the way they were. And I've never tried to do this to make money. I want it to be a fun thing, And
I think it will be. I think it is a fun thing, just because it's so hard to get cards. I mean, we all talk about it. Everybody knows it's, I'm a broken record. Everybody's a broken record when it comes to that. So it's not like, anybody's telling you or anyone else anything, like breaking news for sure.
Yeah.
But it is a way to get your hands on some product to have some fun with at a reasonable cost. I mean, like I was saying in my video, it's like you can literally buy a team right now on your break and pay the same money on a blaster and get possible junk, but you're going to get that number of cards times 20 boxes, possibly of a specific team, you
Yeah.
know? And I like those odds, quite frankly, a lot better than I would on one blaster. You might get one card, if you're lucky, too, that you actually will be excited about. And then, rest of the cards probably just, you throw in a pile somewhere, So I think that the odds are a lot better because it's going to take that money times over the 20 boxes. So, I think it's great. So I don't know if you looked at the checklist or whatever. You mentioned that Optic has lots of like colors and numbers. Is there anything else that's kind of cool to that people might be looking out for that Optic offers that maybe you don't know about or people just need to have a refresher on?
Yeah, I think the major thing, I guess, with the blaster boxes is they come with the pink parallels.
Pink parallels,
and
yeah.
I would imagine, and again, I don't know the Donruss product as well as I do the Topps products, but I would imagine that's probably the only place you can get the pinks are through the blasters. So every box has a pink pack. I think it's just one 3-card pack. So that would be, I've seen the Tatis pink go for some good money on eBay, and I know the other rookies in that class are probably just, well, they may not be as high in value, but they're still pretty sought after.
Yeah, and like I was also saying, if you just think about 2019, there's a ton of players that are blowing up right now that came around that time. Either that was around their rookie season, right after, their rookie season, or just some established stars that, are going to be, their big names. And again, right now, I mean, we're seeing semi-star cards getting like ridiculous movement, right now in the hobby. Yeah. I mean, unless, you just pull, unfortunately, just bum cards out of a pack here and there, you're probably going to be okay. You're going to hopefully make your $20 back or $30 or whatever. Yeah. I feel like it's a pretty safe bet. Now, I didn't know if you saw this, but I was really surprised when I was on Filmington's channel, like I mentioned in my video, like the Donruss product was a top 5 this past year. And, I think it has a lot to do with what you were saying. It's a pretty comparable to Chrome. There's lots of colors. There's lots of numbered cards. They look great. There's a lot of really cool insert sets, if I remember correctly, that you could possibly grab out of there. So I don't know. I just feel like, a lot of people, used to, back when you can, like, be kind of like stick your nose up at Donruss or whatever, we kind of overlook it. But now I think people are looking for value there. And I think it's cool that you're able to offer that.
Yeah, well, I agree with all that, and I think this is one of those rare opportunities. And there might be other ones out there that I don't know about, but
Sure.
This might be one of those rare opportunities to just get into something for relatively cheap. And like you had mentioned before, if you're a guy or gal who PCs a certain team, this is one of those types of things that you can get in pretty cheaply.
Yeah. So do you yourself, I know you offered up this break, but do you get into breaks yourself throughout the year whenever something comes your way? Or are you, I know you're starting to PC Manny, but I know, how do you kind of see your collection, throughout the year? How do you kind of collect?
Yeah, I generally don't get into group breaks, which is kind of probably funny, but because I was such a Topps Chrome collector for years past when this craziness wasn't around, that's how my year went. Every year I would wait for Topps Chrome to come out. I decided how many sets of that product I would put together. Usually it was just 2, and that would generally take the majority of my time and money and budget to put those sets together. So but the last couple of years, now with everything changing, my collecting year has kind of changed. I'm doing more of a PC with Manny and trying to branch out and do other sets. I did the Gypsy Queen set last year of their box toppers. So I'm trying to do other things that make it more fun, I guess, at this point, and more interesting, more variety, I guess, is really what I was referring to. And that's how the year generally goes for me. I don't normally get into group breaks. I try to put one together every year, but that hasn't happened for a couple of years now.
And then when you say you're like looking for Gypsy Queen like toppers, are you said you're just looking to get those sets, put that set together, not the Gypsy Queen set, but just the box toppers, correct?
Yeah, the hobby
And
boxes
not,
last year came with those chrome box toppers, so
Mhm.
they had numbered versions of them. So I did the indigo set, which is numbered to 150. There's only 100 of those cards because they have the 300 card set, and then they have the smaller set for the box toppers. And so I actually completed the indigo chrome from last year, and it was a lot of fun doing something different than I normally had done before.
So how do you display those? You have to get special sleeves or something, or
Yeah, well, here I'll show you. I've got my case here. I call it the little beast.
oh, the little beast, yeah. Don't
So
don't be going up against Mike. He'll drop his beast on you like the Wicked Witch of the East.
yeah, so the story there is that's where I got the inspiration to do that, and so because I saw his videos when I first found Mike's channel a few years ago. He had a series showing off that beast and how he made it with his dad and everything. It kind of inspired me to do that. And I'm a beginner woodworker as well, so it gave me a great project to do. And that's right now where the cards sit in top loaders in that case. But there's I don't know, there's like 10 or 12 sets in there from the last 10 years.
All right, I like it, Bob Villa. They're out
Yeah.
there with your woodworking now, so that's great. Yeah, I'll be sure
Norm
to send some
Abrams.
work your way. What was that?
I'm more like Norm Abrams, not Bob Vila.
I'm more like Tim Taylor.
Right.
So, but that's awesome. So, well, then when it goes back to you're doing the Gypsy Queen toppers, do you see yourself doing like kind of like that was like obviously an oddball thing? It's not like your normal set. That's an oddball thing. Are you seeing yourself going that direction, moving forward, trying to like what Garrett, card cutter says, zig where everybody else is zagging, trying to grab something different for 2021 that might not be Topps Chrome, but maybe something different?
Yeah, the way I look at it is with Topps Chrome coming out in the second half of the year, I'm looking for something to do in the first half of the year. And
Sure.
so Gypsy Queen, I think this year is coming out 1st of April or somewhere around the April timeframe. I probably will look at that again to do it. And I thought about doing something like Topps Finest, which I think comes out in the beginning of the summer. And that's how I just basically choose something. I don't want it to be a very large set, so I don't do any 300 card set or 600 card set or anything like that. I try to make it smaller, but something that's going to be challenging to do.
Yeah.
And then you have to think about the budget too. That's always a problem.
Especially right now, the budget can get away from you real fast if you're not careful.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
So with Machado being your guy, what's two quick questions. One is what's your most unique, rare Machado that you have so far? And which is the most unique or rare story that you've been able to grab a Machado? Maybe like, you found it in like, under a rock somewhere that you're like, oh, I found this card on eBay. Maybe it was like, nobody knew it was there. I pulled the trigger and got it. It's kind of unique. Like, do you have a story where you kind of found a couple cool Machados?
Yeah, I'm probably going to bore you with that one because I don't really have a story. I'm so new to the Machado PC world that I just don't have that. I think the oddball story I can tell you with him is that back in 2013 with his rookie year in Topps Chrome, I had a ton of those cards, and because I opened a ton of Topps Chrome back then, I must have had every variation. Not every variation, but most of the variations of his card. And I've since sold all of them just in boxes that I'm selling for $40 or $50 for a flat rate box to just get rid of cards out of my closet. And I regret that to this day, obviously, because things have blown up so much. But that's probably the most oddball story I can tell you. The rare card I have, which I just picked up recently, and I think I showed it off a few videos ago, is the 101 auto that I got from somebody through Blowout Forums. So that was pretty amazing to just get something that I know no one else has and have that in my collection. And it's a pretty nice thing to be able to look at every now and again.
That is awesome. Now, have you ever seen Machado play before in person?
Yeah, I'm a season ticket holder. So I see him 40 games a year, probably. And I saw him in 2019, his first season. He didn't have a great season. He was, 270, 275 hitter for the year, but he still hit 32 bombs. And, I was trying to figure out what everybody's opinion was about him and why they felt the way they did about him. I just didn't see it. And I think that's where it kind of started for me, was that this guy was not getting a fair shake. I know he's done some things over the years that people, kind of, look at a little bit in a little bit funny way, but, yeah, I think the guy needs a little bit of a second chance, and so I think people here in San Diego have really opened their arms for him, and they've accepted him.
So that was my next question. So people in San Diego seem to be fans of Machado at this point in time. Like he's in the good graces of the people there, right?
Yeah, no, we didn't have anything against him when he showed up. So unless you do something to get on our bad side, I guess we're gonna treat you as one of us.
Oh, good. Now, how excited are you for 2021 as a Padres fan? Because, I mean, the Padres have always been like when I was a kid growing up in the 80s with like, Tony Gwynn and some of those guys. And then you had Fred McGriff and all that. I remember being excited. You had, Gary Sheffield. There's a lot of stuff. I remember in the 90s, a lot of that. But then I feel like there was like a lot of, off the beaten path, a lot of dark years also. So This year being like maybe the first year that I can think of that there's probably some real legit optimism that everybody can feel, even people down in San Diego. Like, how excited are you?
We're really excited. I mean, my wife and I are just in the clouds excited, because we've been season ticket holders since 2004 when they opened Petco. And there've been some really, really tough seasons. There have been a few good ones. It's been like they said last year a lot. It's been 14 years since they were in the playoffs. And some of those years were just horrible, and you barely see anybody in the stands when you went to the games. But this year, it's like a tremendous change in the way people are looking. And then you throw into the mix the Chargers leaving a couple of years ago. It's the only game in town, and so people here are getting behind them probably more than what they have in the past.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that, but that is true. Well, I mean, I'm definitely gonna be watching more, paying attention more, because my boy Darvish is there.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm really hoping now that he has all that firepower behind him, and and a lineup that's going to be a lot more, I think, beneficial to him. That if he kept kind of having the final year and a half that he had with Chicago, with their wheels falling off, with San Diego with hopefully their wheels firmly on, that Darvish should be in a good situation to kind of come back into more prominence than he was when he first started, and with the Rangers all those years ago. So I mean, before Machado and before this new kind of lease on life, who was some of your favorite players to watch? Maybe they're not popular players, but since you're there 40 games a year, I mean, you must have had a couple of guys that you pulled out that you're like, man, he's a darling of mine. I really like watching him play.
Well, I'll tell you, it's interesting you asked that question, because every year up until the time when Machado showed up, there was always at least one or two players that we like to watch every year, but then they would be gone in a year or two. They'd be moved on to somewhere else. We never really had that, core group of players that stayed for a long period of time. I mean, you had obviously Hoffman here and Gwynn and all those players before, but once you start getting past those guys, you really didn't have a lot of players that stayed a long time. I'm thinking back to when we first became season ticket holders. Brian Giles was a guy that was here for a little bit of time.
Yeah.
Guys like that you don't really think about when you think about the Padres, or maybe some of you do, but he's a guy that was here for a few years, and he warmed the hearts of all the fans. And then there was the year in 2015, I think it was 2015, when the GM pulled the trigger on a bunch of trades. They got, Craig Kimbrell and Justin Upton and some other guys to come here for that one season. We thought that was going to be the season that we were going to rival the Dodgers and the Giants, but that didn't materialize, and those guys were gone after the next year or two. And so now we have a couple of guys who have contracts that we can't even believe are here in San Diego. 10 years and 14 years. That's crazy to think about. So it's so exciting to think about having a core group of guys for a long period of time. It's something that we're not used to.
And it probably gives people in the town there, something to get excited about and like get behind, like you said, because there's going to be some like, longevity there. There's some bedrock, cornerstone people that are going to be able to be built upon and around, and you don't have to worry about so much turnover, I think, moving forward.
Yeah. That's very true. I mean, there's still going to be some turnover. The GM here is making a real name for himself, I think, and he's making a lot of these deals with other teams without having to really open up a lot of money. I mean, obviously, paying Tatis is important, but when you're trading for Darvish and you're trading for Snell and you're doing all those kinds of things, that's really setting the bar pretty high. And I don't know. I hope it continues, and I hope the mix and the chemistry is right.
Well, speaking from a Reds fan, when you have your front office say they're going to make a big move, and then they get a bunch of people who like are barely above average and maybe a few decent like semi-stars on a 1 or 2 year contract, and that's it. And then they tell you it's the year, and then it's not the year, and it's not the year after that year, and that year, and that year. Like you kind of said what the Padres were doing in the past. They might grab a couple of people here and there, but then it's not like anything that really gets you excited about, because it's like if it doesn't happen that year, it ain't gonna happen.
Yeah.
And that's what the Reds have been doing since, I don't know, 1990. So I mean, I definitely understand as a fan that if you get some high caliber talent like the Padres are doing, you have you don't have to worry about false hope. You have legit real hope that this can be moving in the right direction. It's not just for 1 year, like you said, or 2. It's for quite a few years in the future. Trying to make it happen, and so we know baseball's is a race, not a sprint or whatever. It's going to be a long season, but hopefully we get it done. So to kind of wrap up, Saul, just to let people know a little bit more, can you go through and just kind of let people know what to expect if they decide to pull the trigger and go to your box break this weekend?
Yeah, sure. I don't know if you have the link or not, or if you can put the link somewhere.
I can.
If you could, that'd be great. It's just
I will.
It's a blaster case, and there's 20 boxes, and every team's available. Well, not every team's available. I've got 6 teams. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm sorry, 5 teams taken right now. You can go to my channel and check out that particular video, and it'll show the list of who's got what. And I'm hoping to get it and do it this week. I just don't know what's going to happen with all the shipping woes that are out there. It seems like people are waiting weeks before they get stuff. So, I hope that doesn't continue. But that's basically all that's happening this week.
And you said it's going to be either $20 on the low end on some of the less exciting teams, right. 35 on a couple of the bigger names like the Angels and stuff like that, because you got Trout and stuff like that. Yep. But that's including shipping.
Yep.
That's including all the cards. That's not just any hits. That's random pitcher, relief pitcher, included with the Mike Trout relic card, right? That's all whatever you get, correct?
Yep. Whatever comes on that team is yours. Yep.
All right. And then are you using PayPal to have people pay you?
Yeah, I'm gonna get my PayPal information out there, and then usually I try to just do that individually with the person instead of broadcasting that all over the place. Right. But yeah, right. So I'll do that individually.
And then with that, you said also that if you do get a spot, you get a spot at that price, but then you can take $5 off the corresponding spot. And then if you take more than 2, you'll work out a deal with them that you might get a lesser amount for a package of 3 teams or whatever, correct?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. I'm sorry I forgot to mention that. But yeah, I do.
I'm doing a better job of selling it than you are, so come on.
Yeah, right. Right. I'm an engineer, so you can't. I'm not a salesman.
Okay. I'm just some schmuck circus freak, so that's what I do. So
yeah, no, that's right. You get you buy one, and then every additional one we'll just keep putting discounts on it. $5 off the first one, and then or the second one you buy, and then after that we'll just figure out a price. I can always give you more of a discount.
All right, so basically, people can just go to your channel. You'll keep people posted. If the case shows up, I'm assuming between now and Wednesday, you'll do a video telling people, hey, it's here. We're planning on doing it on Friday. Make sure you get with me on your teams. If something happens and it gets halted up and it's delayed, I'm assuming you're gonna let people know, like, hey, we're gonna wait another couple days or whatever to let people know. Would that be a fair thing to say? With kind of an idea.
That's very fair. Yep, that's exactly what I'm planning to do.
Good deal, guys. Well, guys, check out Saul bdkane721 and his channel. Try to get in on that. I mean, I don't know. There's like still 25 teams left to pick from, or 24 teams or something. There's quite a few teams to pick. A lot of the major teams too. Like when I saw, I was surprised that some of the teams that you think most people would go after. The Dodgers, I think, were still available. The Angels were still available at that time. I mean, it's not like you're trying just to get rid of the Royals and the Tigers. You know, I think a lot of times people get nervous when they're like, yeah, of course, you're trying to steal the Tigers. No one wants them. It's like, no, the Angels are there too, dude. So, but anyways, yeah, definitely check out Saul's channel. Did you want to say anything else?
No, I appreciate everything, Jason. Thanks for the support. I can't thank you enough for that. And you're in the break, so you're going to be looking forward to it as well. And you're not just selling it for no reason; you're in it too. So
yeah, I'm in it too. I mean, like I said before, if I was doing the same thing, or if I was doing an auction or something, I would want other people to be like, hey, Jason's doing this. Let them know. Like we said right before we went on, I said, we sometimes get in this tunnel vision that think we're all in the same group, but that doesn't mean that we necessarily are. Like I want to be able to reach out to people in a group of people that you may not be able to talk to or know because they don't know about your channel and vice versa. So if I can help bring people to your channel, then just like if I ask, you can do the same thing for me, you're helping each other out, so sometimes I think even though, YouTube collecting is very like minuscule on the big scheme of things, there's still so many channels that fall through the cracks and people just don't know. So anything we can do to help each other out, I think is a great thing.
I appreciate it. And just sticking with my same theme, it's going to be 70 and sunny tomorrow. So just, look forward to that. Well, on that note, while it's like 35 and freezing here, I'm going to let you go. So I appreciate everybody watching. Thanks again. Y'all take care. See ya. Bye.